Fun fact. Did you know that across all branches of the military, during their first live fire record event at the range, female trainees, on average, do better than male trainees? Now, that would seem like it's counterintuitive. But the reason for this is that male trainees, prior to entering the service, have had some type of an experience with a ballistic weapon, with either dad or grandpa or uncle, whoever, and they have learned some bad habits. Female trainees don't have this problem. So there is an unlearning curve that has to occur with male trainees that doesn't have to occur with female trainees. That gives them an edge. There's also another aspect that gets overlooked. Male trainees at this age, 18 to 24, are largely driven by ego. Female trainees are driven by a survival instinct. You see, if you ran out of ammunition as a male and you had to go toe-to-toe with your enemy in a fight, guy versus guy, well, we're going to see how that works out. But females know that that weapon is their edge. That weapon is the great equalizer, and the more effective they are at employing that tool, that weapon, the greater their chances are of survival. There's not an ego aspect involved. Now, why is this important to understand? We mistakenly assume that bodily survival has a higher precedence than ego survival. Generally speaking, in men, this is simply not true. Ego will happily destroy body for its own sake. And there is one meme we can show to prove this. Just rub some dirt on it and walk it off. Man up, girl. How many of you guys out there have had guys either in your unit or in your group or whatever? It's like, hey, don't trip over your skirt, Alice. You know, join us when you're ready to be part of the man group again. I've got your man card over here. Do you want to come get it? You see, this is what guys do. Generally speaking, females are more group success oriented. They put aside their egos and they do whatever is necessary to get the job done. You see, all of us fear death, sometimes even more than pain. But it's strange that we would fear death that way, because life hurts a lot more than death. And at the point of death, pain is over. But at the point of death, life is over. So you would have to come to the conclusion that pain, being evidence of life, is some kind of a friend. Now, the picture that I showed way back here, this is all Patriot Nurse. And I've talked about her before at length. And I think it's important to use this as a learning tool. Because here in her blog, she says, why, yes, I do need an AR-15. She mentions in her blog that she has physical issues, and that's why she chooses this. But if you had to choose, if you were in a survival situation, would you want a bunch of people in your group that were ego-driven or survival-driven, results-driven? That's going to be a hard thing for a lot of guys to kind of roll around in their mind. See, also, now after training, generally speaking, men spend more time at the range than women, and so that kind of evens things out. Now, my personal choice is not an AR-15. Having used an AR-15, I have also used this weapon, and I find it to be far superior. It is a Russian Yugo SKS. It's actually Yugoslavian. It is, in my humble opinion, a far superior weapon to the AR-15. It has a lot of different advantages to it. 7.62 by 3.9. I'm sure a lot of you out there are experts in ballistic weapons, and you can probably explain down in the comments the advantages of this weapon over the AR-15. Now, mine comes equipped with a bipod like this, so that even if I had a broken arm, I could employ this weapon with one hand. Now, I don't have all of the cool stuff that this thing has on it, but I do have the grenade launcher and, the rangefinder for the grenade launcher as well. So, there's that. It's a muzzle-mounted grenade launcher, so you don't need a specific, different piece of equipment like you do with the AR-15 to launch grenades. So, there's that. Now, back to pain. See, guys like pain that they can control. This is why you see a lot of guys in the gym lifting the weights. The pain is all within their control. It's self-inflicted and self-controlled, and they can see results from it. But that pain that you inflict, that you don't see the results of right away, you see, that's harder. That's more difficult. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are looking at this image going, wait a minute. Hold on. Back up, McKee. What does the First Lady and Governor of Florida have to do with bringing the pain? Well, this is what we have been doing in Florida to the left for the last 2 years. We have been bringing them a level of pain they can't handle. A level of mental dissonance, cognitive dissonance that they cannot deal with, and that's why they're losing their mind. A great example was from earlier this year. The governor and his wife were at a press conference talking about Resiliency Florida. This is a mental health initiative aimed at the children of Florida that has largely been pioneered by our First Lady. Now, she got up and she talked for a while, and she said, does anyone have any questions? Well, a reporter decided to be a smartass and tried to corner her on a question regarding something entirely different that had to do with her husband's job as governor. Had nothing to do with Resiliency Florida. Well, guess what happened? She toasted the guy. She absolutely roasted the guy to the point where it caused laughter in the room. And the governor had to step up and say, I probably should have warned you about doing this. Because Casey Black DeSantis is as good in front of a microphone and is in as much command of the facts as our governor is. It was truly one of those moments where the media lost its mind because there was dead silence in the room. She answered a question as if she was the governor of Florida, as well as he could have answered it. This is what they're afraid of. And you know what this really has to do with? This really has to do with this insane notion that they have had that unless you have an abortion, you can't be a strong, educated, informed, powerful woman. All you'll be is secondary. You see, that's been their big argument for abortion. You see, you can't both be a mom and be respected. You can't both be a mom and be powerful and speak and have a voice. She is the embodiment of the fear of the left. This is what they're afraid of. Now, on another topic, I would like to say congratulations to the governor of Montana, but I would also like to offer him a little bit of counsel and wisdom, because he's gone down a road that I'm not sure he is understanding where it ends. Montana becomes the first U.S. state to ban vaccine requirements for employees. Now, most of you out there hearing that would go, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. This is way better than Governor DeSantis has ever done. Wait a minute. Hold on. So an employer now has yet another thing prohibiting him or her from making the choice that's best for their employee, or making the choice that is best for, really, the business. You see, you already can't discriminate based on race, color, creed, sex, national origin, a whole bunch of other things, sexual identity, and now we have another to add to the list. Where we say now government is the arbiter of who is the best and who is not the best employee for any particular business. Shouldn't a business be able to decide for itself what is in its own interest? You see, the governor is trying to say it's a form of discrimination, because we've all taken this idea of discrimination and said it's always bad. It's not always bad. Employers should have the ability to discriminate on who they hire based on what's good for the business. Now, some are saying, great, fantastic, good talk, Maki. What does this have to do with where you started from? If I had to discriminate for my survival group, guess who I'm choosing? I'm choosing people that are really good with firearms. I am choosing people that have very little or no ego involved. I have the idea in my mind that my survival group should survive. I don't care whose feelings it hurts. Just like Governor DeSantis and his wife, they don't care whose feelings they hurt. They tell the truth. And the governor of Montana needs to be pretty careful here, because he's going down a socialist road. Because when you give government, whether it be this governor, another governor, or some future governor, the ability to say, business, you can or cannot hire or keep hired these people based on this, or that, or that. What's he going to do? If a business says, you're fired because you're not vaccinated, what's he going to do? Is he going to send the Gestapo in there to arrest the business owner and then take the person who was fired and put them back at their position doing whatever they're doing? Does that sound like that's a solution? You may morally disagree with the idea of a business dismissing someone over a vaccination status, but to say that the answer is for government to step in through force of law, that's even worse. And this is Greg Gianforte, by the way. Greg Gianforte. No, and I don't want to say like I'm like piling on this guy. He's done some great things. And they're all the way down here at the bottom of his wiki. Lifted Montana statewide mask mandate. Pardon me. Banned sanctuary cities. Signed a bill. Ended same-day voter registration. Signing a bill that requires individuals to actually have undergone gender reassignment surgery to change their birth certificate. Ban transgender athletes from girls' sports and public schools. Good guy. I mean, really good guy. Has made some good decisions, but I think this one he's going to have to be careful with because it reeks of socialism. Businesses should be free to make whatever decision they want to about their employees, who stays and who goes. That's why here in Florida, we haven't got to that point yet. We haven't gotten to where, and I don't think the governor's ever going to get to that point, where he feels like it's appropriate for government to step in and tell business what they can and can't do. Now, local governments, that's an entirely different thing. The governor in Florida has come out and said local governments may not tyrannize their constituents in violation of state law. But if Disney, or if a cruise line, or if other businesses for their employees want to have standards, then they're allowed to have those standards. What the governor of Florida did was discriminating against people patronizing the businesses, saying that you have two standards, two classes of people that you serve. I serve this group of people, but I won't serve this other group of people. That's wrong. But when you are hiring people for your business, you should be able to make whatever decision you want. And if government's going to step in, that's socialism. What's the definition of socialism? Where government controls the means of production, the means of service. Isn't that the definition? So I'll leave it there. But once again, if I'm choosing a survival group, you bet I'm going to discriminate. I'm going to discriminate all day long based on performance and based on the chances of my group surviving long term. And I'm sure a lot of you would do the same thing. God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys tonight on Twitch.